Welcome back to Netball SA Stadium and Game 2 of First Nations round. You can see the Adelaide Thunderbirds and the West Coast Fever players just going through their final stages of the warm-up. There's El Carbel, and she'll have a big role to play tonight as she comes up against Courtney Bruce. But for right now, we're going to get courtside for our welcome to country.
We would now like to welcome to centre court Jack Buckskin for our official welcome to country.
Ganar Benjini Chikanya Pondo Penakuno Chabakani, I thank you Welta Gana Naranga Warango Mil. Gachutakitena Bukiana me and a Yachiata Padnama. Maruchangi Ganamini Yalakanga Luanga de Mani Nabuni Yalakakuma. My name is Jack Buckskin. I'm a proud Kaurna, Naranga and Wirango man, and I get the opportunity to welcome and pay your respects to the ancestors of this country. Our elders have gone before us, still live within these lands, and it's my duty as a traditional owner to welcome you all onto this gathering on this part of the country. I represent 3 different groups, but Kaurna is the one and the language that I speak in today of the Adelaide Plains, and honoured to welcome you on behalf of my family and other community members here today. Pay respects to other Indigenous and Aboriginal people that are gathering here today, and the stories that are designed on the designs of the uniforms that have travelled from afar and come to our lands. We bless them as well. I acknowledge the spiritual ancestors by singing a song which asks for blessings as we gather on this country. Welcome everybody. I'm also talking about country. It's a grounding instrument. The didgeridoo or the yiraki comes from Northern Territory, and I acknowledge Yunga for allowing me to play it. It's a sound that replicates the earth, and I'm also going to play a bit of that for us to reflect on the place that we stand on, places of significance to ourselves, and to remember that wherever we travel, the spiritual ancestors guide and look after all of us. It's one of the best instruments to play, I think. One, because it's the only instrument I know how to play, and the other, it's the best way to explain that sometimes us men can multitask.
Thank you very much, Jack Buckskin.
Well, what a very special moment as we continue First Nations round. Big thank you to Jack Buckskin for that. The teams will now come together in their final huddles, and you'll notice these incredible dresses they're wearing. Local artists responsible for the design of those, and Plenty of great stories behind each and every one of them. West Coast Fever, Caitlin looked very relaxed, and they've got to be confident after that big win last week.
That's right. Why wouldn't they be confident? They set a new record, a top score, 97 goals for the game and a 34-goal win over the Firebirds. Really, they're going to come out here with confidence, but it's not going to be an easy job for them tonight. We know this crowd is vocal. We know they have a very strong connection to the Thunderbirds team, and they've been helping them get across the line.
Well, here's a reminder of the Woolworths team cards and how they'll start the Adelaide Thunderbirds. And as we mentioned in the pre-game, Tipper Dwan and the captain, Hannah Petty, starting on the bench. The first quarter, though, is not the issue for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, and they won it last week, so they're backing this lineup in again. I think Taylor Williams about to get us underway here. There she is again with the ball, Nankiville. Well, already a penalty inside the circle, so Georgie Horges, will she take it or pass it off, or she goes for the short option? And that is the first nutpa of the game. And for those of you playing at home, nutpa means goal. That is the official language of the Ghana people.
Barney's contact, wing attack.
Glasgow, back to Anstis. Jordan Kransberg, let's talk about her for a second. Caitlin Bassett, Verity Simmons out with COVID. And Kransberg was exceptional to watch at the Team Girls Cup pre-season tournament. Just her second game, but it's her first start.
That's right. What a great opportunity for this young player. We've seen her twin Zoe play before, and now she's getting the opportunity to start this match. And I think she's got incredible athleticism. I had a chat to Nat Butler a couple of weeks ago, and she was speaking very highly of her as a player.
Yeah, she's been earmarked as one of the stars of the future. Well, the Thunderbirds managed to keep control of it, but it has not been pretty. Oh, and there's the tip too, Courtney Bruce. Well, she thought she had it cleanly, didn't she? Georgie Horges. So, 2 goals from 2 attempts for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Anstis, Glasgow, the hero of round 10. 14 Suncorp super shots, set the new record. Blew the old one of 10 right out of the water.
Yeah, I think my favourite part of that record was she also had 0 turnovers, which is absolutely incredible when you think about how many times she'll touch the ball in a game.
Janelle Fowler, well, she'll touch the ball plenty of times, won't she? And she's got plenty to say early on too. Down goes Kransberg.
Welcome to the big league.
Yes, won't be the first time. Quick double play. I like it between Horges and Williams. And Georgie Horges not afraid to attack the post, but by far the shortest player in that circle. And that speaks volumes, doesn't it, Caitlin?
Yeah, well, you know, we haven't seen her play as much goal attack this year. Last year she was predominantly in here, but we've seen her... Oh, Sasha Glasgow hit
Sasha Glasgow sandwich. Well, they feel like they need 2 of them on her, I think, tonight after last week's performance. Fowler. Oh, speaking of on people, Sterling almost has to be surgically removed from Janelle Fowler.
And what a matchup that is going to be tonight. Last week against the Vixens, Sterling quiet. She was run around a lot by Mike Mwenda, as we can see here on Harvey Norman replay. Sasha Glasgow just getting a little bit of love from the Thunderbirds.
I think they'll be making sure they know Thunderbirds are around. Nankiville. Williams. Yeah, great vision on the ball. Just not off enough on the pass, though. So that's a win there for the West Coast Fever. Courtney Bruce over the top, Ariang. Kransberg will do a lot of work in that middle. Big shoes to fill, Verity Simmons. And again, so really interesting, because this is normally Sterling's strength, isn't it? That defending from behind, but Fowler is just too much of a rock to get through at this point.
Yeah, she's definitely smart and using her body to protect where that ball's going to go, so the long arms of Sterling can't come around and have a crack.
She's going to have to mix it up, isn't she? Come off the body, get around, get in front. Glasgow. Kransberg. There it is. Off the body a little, got in front, exactly what we mentioned, and the tip comes from Sterling. One thing she is not lacking is the skill in the air and the elevation. And she's going to need every bit of that to stop balls into that lady there, Janelle Fowler. Harvey Norman replay. Sterling up strong.
Another matchup I'm excited to see tonight is Latanya Wilson on Alice Teague-Neal as Courtney Bruce takes a beautiful fly, just tips it to Nankiville.
Well, again, Georgie Hoare just doesn't even look like passing off. And that really, to me, is going to be a big key here because she's got to take some of the pressure off Cardwell early, I think. Don't want both defenders dropping back on Elle Cardwell. But I do agree with you in the Wilson-Teague-Neal matchup.
Yeah, I think if I look last week, Hannah Mundy really did a fantastic job. But when these two sides last met, Wilson was all over it. She absolutely shut Teague-Neal down. She kept her to 25.5 Nissa net points and really kept her quiet. So looking forward to seeing how Alice Teague-Neal is going to adapt as Latanya Wilson almost gets that.
Well, she's just got a couple of tips. I think she heard you really injecting herself in this contest early. Dan Ryan likes it, but he's up out of his chair yelling at the sideline. Down goes Anstis. Cardwell sinks one. Well, you don't often see the goal attack in Georgie Hoare just shooting more goals than Elle Cardwell at the moment. That's where it is, though. 3 to Hoare, just 2 to Cardwell. Glasgow. Fowler. Well within range, not at all scared of the arm from Sterling. And we've seen that arm from Sterling put a lot of shooters off in their time. Georgie Hoare just has to go back for a moment. It's Wilson, Nankiville. Over the top. Again, Nankiville, the big swing. Struggling to find Cardwell, but it doesn't matter at this point because Hoare just making herself available pretty easily at this point, Caitlin.
And you know what? As long as someone is putting the goals up, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. Cardwell doing a huge amount of work keeping Courtney Bruce busy, which is allowing Hoare just to pop in that front and put up those shots.
We're not forgetting we've got Em Beaton on the sideline. What have you made of these opening minutes, Em?
Yeah, I've been looking closely at the Thunderbirds attack line. What I'd love to see from their midcourt is turning with a bit more conviction and getting eye contact with their goalers. They look a bit scared, a bit hesitant, and that's following through into the movements of the goalies, I feel.
What we've seen from the Adelaide Thunderbirds, though, in recent weeks, I feel like that hesitation isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. It stops those, you know, spraying of balls. We've spoken about how many turnovers they make, and they sit second in that stat. They've thrown 68 intercept passes away in the competition. And you think about how much ball they win back, that's devastating, isn't it, if you're the coach?
Yeah, you just can't afford to do that, especially against the West Coast Fever. They're the #1 attacking side in this competition, so you need to be really smart with ball around them because they will punish you. As we see Fowler outside the circle taking a lovely drive.
Well, Teague-Neal will get it back outside the circle. She'll take a breath and connect with Fowler. And again, that little step in, not at all worried about the defensive arm. And they've blown it out now to 10, so 4 goals the difference, and it felt like it happened in the blink of an eye. Yeah, Cardwell cannot get free, can she? Courtney Bruce doing an exceptional job so far. Oh, Hoare just didn't like that one. Now they find Cardwell. And she looks like she's getting plenty of attention from the Australian Diamonds goalkeeper in Courtney Bruce. 3 the difference. Great connection to Glasgow. Fowler not taking a whole heap of ball directly under the post, but she's still good from that mid-range.
Yeah, that's right. And we're seeing, I guess, more strings to her bow as she's moving out further and further away from the circle. As they're heading into finals, Fever, oh, what a fantastic intercept there from Jordan Kranzberg. And Fever are away straight into their attacking end.
Yeah, little defence on them, wasn't there? What a great transition. And at the moment, Shamira Sterling not even really looking like she's in the contest. Here comes the Harvey Norman replay and the intercept from Jordan Kranzberg. Well, making the most of her opportunity to start here. I think, say to Dan Ryan, I'm up for the challenge. Glasgow sneaks across the baseline. And sinks it. And that, can you believe it, Sasha Glasgow's first goal of the game. Now take it out by 6, the West Coast Fever. Well, not forgetting Adelaide Thunderbirds starting with both Hannah Petty and Tipper Dwan on the bench. So Unless they can narrow this margin, surely you'd expect that change to come at quarter time.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, how much do you let this score blow out before you make that change? It is only quarter one, and we know that, you know, the Thunderbirds can turn over ball so easily defensively.
Oh, just like that, Caitlin.
Oh.
Wow.
Let's see if they can score off it.
Latanya Wilson.
Bunny's called.
Harvey Norman replay. Up with that outside arm. Oh, that long ball looked a little dangerous there for a moment. That's a good clearance ball coming from Williams. But just like that, they throw it away again, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. West Coast Fever. Anstis has to go back to Bruce. Cross court. Oh, they did have a good look at it, didn't they, the Adelaide Thunderbirds? And straight under the post. Shamira Sterling not even putting the hand up in defence.
She's not, and she's not even having a look to chew on that ball either, as we see a timeout called.
Yeah, timeout called, tactical timeout the way of the Adelaide Thunderbirds. And we'll get down and have a listen to Tanya Obst. No doubt she'll have plenty to say, probably around that attack line and what they're doing, but I think she'd also want to see a bit more grit in defence.
Okay, let's talk about what we're going to do with the two-point tie. Yep. Yeah, let's think about what happens when we get people over the line, over the line, and how we delay on both transverse lines, Yep. Delay over transverse lines, Yep. Keep building that pressure, put the pressure back on them.
What centre pass are we doing? Wrap. Yep, we know what we're doing defensively. We're stopping that middle. Let's go out there. Let's stay connected. Let's put smiles on our faces. Have some fun. We know what we're doing the first centre pass. Let's go. T-Birds on 3, 1, 2, 3. T-Birds, let's go.
Well, that was pretty clear, wasn't it? Coming from Hannah Petty, the captain, not on court, but she wants the players out on court. Put some smiles on the faces, have a bit of fun, stay connected. Haven't made any changes in that timeout. So letting this starting 7 see if they can get themselves back in the contest. Six goals, the difference. Horges. Williams needs something. Here it comes from Cardwell.
Interesting to hear Thunderbirds huddle then talking about delay on the transverse line. In this 2-point period, they know how dangerous that the West Coast Fever can be with Sasha Glasgow, so they need to make sure that they're stopping that ball and delaying it early.
As we just see Georgie Horges sink the first Suncorp super shot of the game. Of course, we are in the Power 5 time now. Last 5 minutes of each quarter. Kransberg waits patiently. Teague Neal, well, there is a tip. And the first win for Shamira Sterling. That might just be what she needed to rev her up. And just like that, I nearly get a hold of the game ball. I think I just pulled my shoulder in the process.
Well, this is one of the criticisms we have about Thunderbirds. You know, they can turn the ball over, but they just struggle to really transition it out on court. And you know, if you're West Coast Fever, if you lose the ball, you put that pressure on. As we can see here, 2 defenders on Sasha Glasgow leaves Fowler with an easy 1-point shot.
Here's a stat for you, Caitlin. The Thunderbirds have scored 107 goals from games. They sit at number 1 in the competition. Can you imagine if they weren't throwing the ball away as many times as I mentioned before?
Ridiculous. As we can see there, Jordan Kransberg just comes up with another pickup. Jess Anstis contested that one, left it dribbling.
Where's the defence here, though? How quickly down the court for the West Coast Fever, right under the post in the sweet spot for Janelle Fowler. Fowler now sitting at 14 from 14 and still 3 minutes to go in this quarter. Last week, one of the stats they hit and a record they broke where they were the first team to score over 20 points in every single quarter, and they're on track here, particularly if Fowler can sink this Suncorp super shot. Well, she can't, but she gets the rebound. Will take the one, and they find themselves up by 7.
The smile on her face says it all. The danger of Fowler putting that ball up in the 2-point means that she's not there for the rebound, but she just proves she can get in and get her own rebound as well.
Yeah, nothing's stopping her at the moment, is it? And Shamira Sterling will have to have a good hard think about that when we get to this quarter-time break. Williams got to go all the way back. Nothing coming. The defence from the West Coast Fever has got a stranglehold over the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Well, nearly thrown out of court. Nankivell gathers all the way back to Garrett. And again, nothing. Courtney Bruce ate that one alive.
Yeah, she was out hunting, which means her player was obviously somewhere else. We can see Cardwell moving to the sideline now and having a chat with the coaches about some positioning there. But what I would really love to see is the Thunderbirds attackers to back her in the circle, give her an extra second, look at her, wait for her to find a body, and then release the ball.
That's almost what they need to do, though, isn't it? It's get on the body and then come off. Because at the moment, the West Coast Fever are sitting off and just look like they're confusing space. And it is just all too easy down this end. That's a couple of times now. Garrett has ended up on Fowler. So whether that's a deliberate swap or Sterling's going out hunting a little more, trying to spark something. Well, the Jamaicans play it amongst themselves, unaware the penalty has already been called halfway up the court.
Just wanted to touch the ball, you know. Sometimes you've got to get it in your hands to feel good about yourself.
Nankivell.
That's
what could
better.
she find? Yeah, Cardwell.
Courtney Bruce's eyes were down there. Nankivell saw that and she released it perfectly.
Elle Cardwell, 4 from 4. Georgie Horges, 4 from 4. Have a look at the Nissan net points. Match leaders, though. Wow. Jordan Kranzberg making a statement in the absence of Verity Simmons. And Verity's such a great team player. She will be at home cheering that on. She'll be loving seeing this performance. Well, this is something that we spoke about in the pre-game, and something that we thought the Melbourne Vixens did exceptionally well last week, is whenever there was a turnover, they got straight onto defence because they know the Adelaide Thunderbirds throw those balls away quickly at the end of an intercept. Exactly what the West Coast Fever did then as well.
If I was Adelaide Thunderbirds, I would be setting up a set play there. Make it so easy for Shamira Sterling to sight someone and get the ball down court.
20 seconds to go. 7 the difference. You see Tracy Neville, Adelaide Thunderbirds assistant coach, up on her feet in the back of play. 10 seconds to score here, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, and that is not what they wanted to do with it. Thrown it away. Well, what they have done, though, is potentially chew up enough of the clock so the West Coast Fever can't score. Well, who am I kidding? They've got Janelle Fowler. Well, just like that, they get one right on the buzzer. The West Coast Fever off the head of the Jamaican superstar, Janelle Fowler. There it is, quarter time. And the West Coast Fever leading by the 8, 20-12.
Welcome back to Netball SA Stadium, where it's Origin Energy quarter time. I've just been listening in and watching the Adelaide Thunderbirds huddle. Tipper Dwan is making her return to court from injury. She's coming in at goal attack, which moves Georgie Horges to wing attack, and Taylor Williams stays in at centre. Seabass, what were you hearing from the Fever huddle?
Well, I was having a sneaky listening to Dan Ryan, and he was giving a lot of credit to Janelle Fowler, saying her positioning and variety was fantastic. He encouraged her, keep pulling out your tools. It's giving Shamira Sterling so much to think about and distracting her, and Glasgow asking her to stay patient. The workload she is doing outside the circle is what is creating the options inside the circle.
Yeah, it was interesting listening to him talk about Shamira Sterling, wasn't it? And said that at the moment she's looking at ways that she can do anything or stop anything. So she's probably focusing on too much stuff, trying to get some ball back for her team. Shamira Sterling needs to focus on Janelle Fowler in this quarter. She's the one to stop 19 from 19 in that opening quarter, and they hit that sweet 20-point mark in the first quarter, the West Coast Fever. That will be their goal for the remainder of this game. Glasgow. Kranzberg. Oh, she did well to balance on the 1 foot. Fowler. Oh, Shamira Sterling can't win a trick, can she, at the moment? Williams, Horges. Garrett, Williams again. Well, already it looks a lot more fluent up this end, doesn't it? There's more movement, there's more understanding between the Adelaide Thunderbirds. This is the lineup that they're used to, and boom, there it is under the post to Cardwell.
Definitely a more settled and confident line. They seem to know where each other is going. They're releasing the ball. They're going to have to do that so they can peg back a couple of goals.
Well, the other part of the puzzle now, though, is to get their defence on fire, isn't it? Got to win some ball back here and try and get this 8-goal margin a little smaller. Cransberg, how good has she been early on in this game? Teague Neal, Glasgow. Oh, yeah, Wilson really just trying to interfere, upset, delay.
Just create something for herself, isn't she?
Even if it's create a little bit of doubt in the heads of the West Coast Fever players, that's a win.
Or create a bit of distraction for Alice Teague Neal, who is the highest feeder, as we can see there, comes up with the goods, but can they transition it down court? We see them playing it back to Shamira Sterling. This is where we want a nice, clear option.
Yeah, smart work so far. They've been patient. They've used the free player. There's the tip from Shamira Sterling. Well, we mentioned in that first quarter that she was off the money on those. Maybe just lacking the touch and the timing, but she's found it.
They're going to have to place that ball better to Cardwell. Last week, she really struggled against Emily Mannix when she went straight up in the air. She needs to find the body and work off it.
Well, talk to me about her stance as well. I feel like she's very close to the post on the baseline a little bit too much, do you think?
I think Courtney Bruce is doing a really good job of putting her into a position she probably doesn't want to be, and so she needs to reposition, use the body, use that beautiful roll that we see that her do so often.
Fowler, well, that's a long shot for her, but not with that big step in. Oh, the first miss from Janelle Fowler. And the important rebound goes away of the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Can they keep possession, though, and score off it? Well, not if Fowler has anything to do with it. Garrett is still in the defence end. Horges, Garrett, Dwan, Horges. Well, they've got it moving pretty quickly now, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, haven't they? Williams. Cardwell out of the circle and just runs straight back into Bruce. Oh, it's a missed shot, but she'll get another crack at it. Penalty to Courtney Bruce, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Well, they've got one back and the crowd started to get a little bit more vocal here.
This is where Thunderbirds really need to start building some momentum. They don't need to force the ball in their attacking end. They chip it to circle edge, as we see Tip Dwan getting in on the action.
Well, that's exactly what she needs to do, doesn't she? Similar to the way Georgie Horges attacked that first quarter. Got to be a focus, got to be a genuine threat to keep this defence separate. Teague Neal, back to Anstis. Again, another little quick double play between the two. Cransberg. Glasgow out of the circle. Fowler in it. Now they find her. Patient build-up from the West Coast Fever. And they take it to 22 goals. Williams. Yep, just shoved over the line there was Latanya Wilson. Williams, Horges. Well, there was that little roll you mentioned. A nice balance and rotation in the circle here. The timing from Dwan, good.
I think it almost distracted the two defenders and it allowed the space for Dwan to open in front. She's going to get a second go at this shot.
Yeah, Sunday Ariang. So 2 from 2 for Tipper Dwan since she's entered the game. Let's get down to Emily Beaton. Em, we've spoken a lot about the transition from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. What have you made of it so far?
Yeah, I'm seeing their timing is completely out when they're bringing the ball out of defence. You've got attackers who are leading up too early. You've got defenders who are standing there waiting for the ball. That is an incredible intercept from Shamira Sterling. Exactly what they need.
Well, let's keep an eye on that transition you were just talking about. Defenders now working it a little bit further down, and that's exactly what you want. As Emily Beaton mentioned, you don't want your attack line all the way up the court, because then they've got to get themselves all the way back down again. Oh, both players down.
Goalkeeper out of play.
Dwan and Bruce. Tell you what, Dwan's got a little sparkle in the eye tonight, doesn't she? I think she's enjoying this contest.
Do you know what? Her against Joe Weston, like they're an absolute competitive bunch out there.
Cardwell! I'm sorry, but we've got to have another look at that. She almost dropped the shoulder on the take. Oh, how good was that from Cardwell? Not that I'm encouraging that behaviour, but I think really making a statement in the way she intends to play this game. Have a look at this, Cardwell. Boom. Kransberg on the ground. They've got themselves back to 4 here, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, and listen to the crowd in the back of play. Fowler silences them for a moment. 5 the difference.
Well, the momentum has certainly shifted in here. 6 goals to 2 to the Thunderbirds this quarter. As we can see, a bit of a wasted ball there, and comes up with a West Coast Fever possession.
Kransberg safely over the top to Ariang. Needs someone, it's Kransberg. Gosh, she's touching a lot of ball, isn't she, Jordan Kransberg? Well, Shamira Sterling again, and Garrett comes in to pick up the crumbs.
And that's all she has to do. Get a hand to the ball, tip it, hit it somewhere. As we can see in the Harvey Norman replay, she got a hand to the ball and it ended up coming off the ring. Good on Matilda Garrett for having her eyes up to pick up that ball.
There's so often that rush of blood off the back of an intercept, you just want to hoik it, don't you? But sometimes just needs that safe little short pass. Oh my goodness, put themselves under enormous pressure, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, but they make it look good in the process, don't they?
Just not finish off underneath the post. Disappointing. They really could have punished the Fever with that one.
Ariang again. Kransberg. Well, what brilliant and mature vision coming from Kransberg. Notice defence down on the ground inside the circle, so she bypassed everyone and went straight to Fowler. And on that note, we're going to head down to the sideline. It's an HCF tactical timeout. The way of the West Coast Fever this time, and we'll get down and have a listen to Dan Ryan in a moment. Really interesting when he calls his timeouts. They're in a good position. They're up by 6, but clearly he wants a little more. Let's see if we can see what that is.
She's going to drop it up. Drop second option, keep attacking the depth, really important. If you've got the one-on-one when Shamira's sitting in the front position, hold your drop to the post a second longer, because you're just giving her a chance to go back and up with you, all right? Placement of the ball is good, just timing a bit early, all right? Just keep digging in your feet to change direction on her so you can get on the ball more, and then there's more threats in that front line, all right? Strong second option, attack the depth, all right? Good stuff, well done.
I'm going to give more space in that back, but I'm going to stay on my hold a bit longer, make sure it doesn't drop too far,
Keep
okay?
punching and filling transverse lines, so I've got to get these guys off it, all right? So keep punching through it, all right? Go, let's go, guys, hands in. Okay, really important this block of time. We're just really comfortable enduring and weathering the storm, but our work rate has to remain Fever standard high, all right? Let's go, guys, come on.
Fever 3, 1, 2, 3! Let's go,
Couple of things there, Caitlin. Really interesting to hear Janelle Fowler having something to say. You don't often hear her having a chat inside the huddle, but what did you make of what Dan Ryan's requesting?
Yeah, well, she's been around this team for a long time now. I think she deserves the right to put her hand up and say, this is where I want the ball. So telling her attackers she doesn't want the ball falling short, it needs to be placed a little bit further to stop hands of Shamira Sterling getting up to it.
Jordan Kransberg, just her second game, her first start for the West Coast Fever, and she's having an absolute cracker. Janelle Fowler, that is her 24th of the game, sitting at 96%. And they've got themselves back out now by the 7 goals. It was back to 4 in this quarter.
I think that's a really smart ball to put in. If they hold it for a second, they'll see the contesting that's happening between Bruce and Cardwell, and 9 times out of 10, the shooter will get the offensive contact for that one.
Beaten, you're over in the Adelaide Thunderbirds huddle in that last break. What did you pick up? Are they happier with what they saw then?
They were, absolutely. The energy was up. I was really pleased to see Georgie Horges chatting to Garrett and Wilson about getting ball side in that transition. She's identified that she's been on the wrong side of the body to make it easier for those girls coming out of defence. Great touch, Mike Dippertwan. To make it easier for those girls coming out of defence, she needs to be ball side to be an easy outlet for them streaming down court.
There's the Harvey Norman replay. Dwan, to me, looked like she was in front then. Got a good tip on it. Not to be. We're a minute now away from the power 5 time. Sasha Glasgow misses. And the rebound, well, which way is it going to go? It was pinballed between a few players. The Adelaide Thunderbirds end up with it. What can they do with it now, though, is the question. Oh, Courtney Bruce. Well, she had a really good look at it. Just a smidge too late. And a brilliant quick feed between Georgie Horges and Cardwell there.
Nice little 1-2. As we can see here, Courtney Bruce, she was going for the ball and just managed to tip it back to a Thunderbirds player. There's lots of contesting going out there on court, Kath. It's great to see.
This is a win, though. Sunday Arang outside the circle. So it's a 2-on-1 inside. Tipper Dwan backs herself. Why shouldn't she? Hasn't missed in this game. 5 from 5 at 100%. And again, they get it back to 4, and it seems to be happening so quickly. The ebbs and flows of this game. There is the siren. The start of the Power 5. Be interesting to see if the Adelaide Thunderbirds feel like they need to take a couple. Oh, whoa. That's potentially one of the biggest misfeeds I've ever seen in my life.
That's why shooters don't come out of the circle often, Kath, because that can happen.
Well, watch Cardwell, though. She'll be doing everything she can trying to get that back.
Now, West Coast Fever, do they go for a 2 or do they go for a 1 here? We saw at the quarter-time break, there was a discussion about it, and Dan Ryan was saying the hold and sweep is working, which is Fowler starting up high, holding, and Sasha Glasgow sweeping around the front into that 2-point position.
Long cross-court ball. Kranzberg waits patiently for Sasha Glasgow, and she's right in that. Oh, Suncorp super shot, period. Well, she is the queen of the block, Shamira Sterling. Sadly, couldn't make that one legal. So another crack at it here for Sasha Glasgow. And she's not really the kind of player that misses a couple in a row, is she? Both defenders out of play, and there it is, Sasha Glasgow. Just her first Suncorp super shot of the game.
Well, she broke the record last week, as we can see here, that beautiful block from Sterling. She just gets up so high, and she has the most beautiful big hands that she can get her hand to that ball.
Let's talk about this quarter score at the moment. The Adelaide Thunderbirds winning this quarter by 2. It is 9-7. 7. The West Coast Fever in this quarter have only scored when they notched up 20 points in the first quarter. So they've certainly picked up the defence here, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. And that is another big win. Don't know if that 1 was a sign of just take the 1, or that's 1 back, or whatever it is.
Well, you'd think work it to the 1. They're going to have the next centre pass and they can go from there, but this would be a good settler.
Yeah, they do just that. But again, coming off too early on the whole, do you think?
It's the placement of the ball, and I agree, it is coming off too early. Cardwell is not leaving herself a lot of room. She's in line with the goalpost. It's a really hard feed to make. That was so much better. She's got Courtney Bruce on her back. She can protect the space and draw the contact.
It's a little chicken or the egg, isn't it? Does the ball go first, or does the player come off the hold first? The timing really can be quite tricky. Wilson. Garrett. Gosh, Garrett does a lot of attacking work, doesn't she? Well, it's looking smooth here now. The Adelaide Thunderbirds are opening up gaps left, right and centre. Still winning this quarter by the 2, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, but down by 5. Fowler. Oh, she's looking for the 2. This is where they started to build the pressure last week, didn't they? Got the ball to Glasgow. She was draining them and really putting the pressure on the scoreboard. That's the second Suncorp super shot for her.
As we can see here, Jordan Kransberg, you wouldn't think it was her debut match. She's still sitting top of the Nissan net points there. Fowler closely following. Then we see Wilson and Hodges from the Thunderbirds and Bruce rounding it out. Elle Cardwell, a long way from home, but trying to create something in that Thunderbirds attacking end.
Well, there's a lot more movement just between the 2, isn't she? Elle Cardwell, well, she broke hearts in Perth, draining those Suncorp super shots in that round 6 contest. And she's warming up her hand. That was her first one of the game. 50 seconds to go in this opening half. Plenty of time here for the West Coast Fever. They're playing it around, want to make sure that this one drains. And chances are pretty good off the hand of Sasha Glasgow. Not this time, and it's a massive rebound to Matilda Garrett, the new Australian Diamond squad member. Back to Wilson. Oh, patiently waiting for Williams to get herself back on court.
Thunderbirds timing a little bit out. That was an absolutely massive contest there.
Well, went without a call too. 7 seconds on the clock, and the Thunderbirds aware of that. Tippett's won. Can she sink a Suncorp super shot? Well, she can't. Courtney Bruce down and is hanging on to the wrist. Does not look comfortable. Let's have a look at the Harvey Norman replay. And she put the hand down to protect herself on the landing, but not looking happy. So we will keep across that in this halftime break. But at the moment, the West Coast Fever will head into the break up by the 5 goals, 31-26. And we're going to get down to Emily Beaton.
I'm joined with Tipper Dwan. Tipper, much better second quarter performance. What was the message at quarter time from Tanya?
I think it was just to go back to our basics. We weren't really giving the ball when we needed to and faking it, so it's just those little things.
And you're returning to court from injury. How are you feeling out there?
Yeah, I feel good. It was good to just watch the first quarter and get an eye in, but yeah, it feels so good out there.
And coming into the second half, you are trailing behind. What do you need to do this second half to get the win?
Oh, it's really hard to get ball off the Fever, so when we do, we can't turn it over again. We have to score from it, so that's probably it.
Good luck for the second half.
Thank you.
Thank you to Emily. Thank you to Tipper. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with your halftime show. And of course, the netball action doesn't stop here this weekend. Tomorrow, it is another top of the table clash as the Melbourne Vixens take on the New South Wales Swifts in that battle for the Sergeant McInnes Cup. Right after that, we'll be heading a little further north to Sydney as the Giants battle it out over the Queensland Firebirds. And of course, all that action live and exclusive from 1:30 p.m. Well, game 2 of First Nations round, and what a game it has been so far. Adelaide Thunderbirds certainly taking it to the West Coast Fever in that second quarter, but it has turned into quite the battle. Just 5 the difference as we head into the main break. Courtney Bruce really did start to come alive, didn't she? Welcome to your halftime show. Caitlin Bassett, Emily Beaton back with me. And it's probably what we expected, particularly from the West Coast Fever. You and I both tipped them off the back of last week. They started with so much confidence, Emily, and it took the Adelaide Thunderbirds a little while to get themselves into that contest, didn't it?
Yeah, they were absolutely shocked, and they weren't playing like a side that's top of the ladder. The Fever is such a confident side at the moment, and they know exactly what they're doing. Every single player is playing their role, and Janelle Fowler back there, she's unstoppable.
Well, she is unstoppable, and it must be such a dream for this attack line to be able to play with her. there. But for a lot of that first quarter, Caitlin, that attack line didn't look like it had much defence on it at all.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like the Thunderbirds defence are really struggling at the moment. Shamira Sterling used to getting so much hands on ball, but she's not good at creating that. They need Garrett and Wilson almost need to create that ball for her to come alive, and then she'll roll from there. But she's not doing a good job at creating that ball herself until we got to the second quarter.
Yeah, well, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, they made that all-important change in their attack line, didn't they? Brought Tipper Dwan on. She did start on the bench. That enabled Georgie Hortis to get to their wing attack position. This is their normal starting 7, and you could almost immediately see they felt more comfortable.
Absolutely, and the agility of both of those players together, they are so sharp in their movements, they lose their player, and they absolutely run with conviction. A criticism I had of the Thunderbirds in that first quarter is that they were too hesitant in the way that they were moving and the way that they were passing. Coming to that second quarter with Tipper Dwan absolutely commanding things out there, and it's a different side.
Far more confident, and I felt like the movement was a lot quicker. They seemed to bring Cardwell into the game there. She needs to be in this contest. Let's talk about Cransberg, though. Just her second game, her first start with the West Coast Fever in the absence of Verity Simmons. And we saw the Nissan Net Points match leaders a couple of times throughout this game, and she's sitting at the top. What a way to start a game.
She's doing a fantastic job, isn't she? And matching up against Taylor Williams, who, although they lost last week, had a great match on Liz Watson. I've been loving these two. They're the future superstars of their club. She's hit the deck a couple of times. She bounces straight back up. She's got a beautiful eye looking into Fowler, and why wouldn't that give you confidence when you look down court and there's that option?
What I've noticed is not just that vision, but it's the maturity too. She does make those big and important decisions in critical moments. Let's talk about Shamira Sterling, though. Shamira Sterling on Janelle Fowler was always going to be one of the matchups to keep your eye on. At the start of the game in that first quarter, to me, it didn't feel like Sterling was really in the contest. The second quarter, though, how did she suddenly become into it? How did she mix that up?
I think it's the whole team. Everybody is firing. We saw Latanya Wilson also getting a few more touches. Tilly Garrett is really up on Glasgow with her hands high, allowing that ball to come in a little slower. And I think she's just really backing herself now, getting those little touches. She's such a confidence player. So once she's up and about, she goes even further beyond that. And it's amazing to watch.
Well, watch out West Coast Fever if that is the case, if Shamira Sterling is just warming up. Let's have a look at the halftime stats and the shooting percentage of the Adelaide Thunderbirds you'd have to be happy with. They need more ball though, Caitlin. What else stands out to you?
Yeah, look, I definitely think ball in hand, underneath the post, they are unstoppable. For me, it's the penalties. Normally you see a highly penalised team standing out of play and they're generally not ahead. It's the opposite. The West Coast Fever are contesting everything. They're niggling away. They're really building that pressure, and that's giving them the opportunity to turn ball over.
Well, both of the sides will be in their change rooms at the moment. Beaton, if you're Tanya Ops, the head coach of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, what are you saying to your team? What does she want from them in the second half?
I would be giving them some really big ups for that second quarter. They've found themselves out of a hole. Now it's time to put their foot down in this second half and really get that momentum going. We saw it in that second quarter. Once the momentum was happening, things seemed to flow. They need more of that, especially coming into finals. This is crucial times against one of the best sides in the competition to get your combinations flowing. So they need to really nail this.
They do that. They bring the crowd alive too. I know they're not going to be thinking about the finals at the moment, Caitlin, but these wins so important because those final placings, well, it's only 3 or 4 weeks away until we get to it. It's important, isn't it?
That's right. And the top 4 is so tight. There's only 2 points separating the top 4 teams at the moment, which is really exciting to see. These teams at the moment out here on court, though, they want to make sure they're solidifying these combinations. We saw Thunderbirds leave that attacking lineup to start the first quarter. They have that option up their sleeve now when it comes to finals. West Coast Fever, they don't like to change their combinations much around. So if the Thunderbirds can get them moving, we can see what happens.
Well, the teams in the change room, they're starting to make their way back out. I feel like both of these sides have just warmed up in that first 30 minutes of play. There is a massive second half still to come here at Adelaide. Plenty of action on the court. And as I recently found out, there's plenty of action off the court as well. Along with Woolworths, I was lucky enough to meet with some of our SSN stars to find out how well they know their fruit and veg. Take a look how they got on and be sure you get yourself involved too. Welcome to the Woolies Pick Fresh, Play Fresh game. What is the best fluid or drink to have most of...
Sorry.
True or false? Kiwi fruit is a great pre-netball snack because it contains 1 serve of fruit.
Too little.
False! 2 kiwi fruit! one serve as they are smaller pieces of fruit. Well done, Amy Parmenter.
Test your knowledge on the Woolworths Pick Fresh Play Fresh Hub for your chance to win great prizes.
Welcome back to Netball SA Stadium, the lands of the Gunner, people. And what an opening half it's been here between the Adelaide Thunderbirds and the West Coast Fever. 5 the difference. And the Adelaide Thunderbirds really did turn it around in that second quarter. Tanya Obbs will be looking for plenty more of that as this game goes on. There's the West Coast Fever. The good news is it looks like Courtney Bruce is going to be back in the game. Well, speaking of Tanya Obbs, we're going to head down courtside now to hear from her. Tan, thanks for joining us. Big difference between the first quarter and the second quarter. What was your instruction, particularly around the defence, I guess, keeping the West Coast Fever just to 11 goals?
Yeah, well, I think Shamira was working around Janil's body a lot better, and we were really mindful of where we were allowing that ball to land. So that helped, and we just need to be a little bit more clinical through the court to make sure we score off that possession.
Tanya, you had Dwan and Petty back this week. You started them on the bench. Was that giving confidence to the team that started last week and won the first quarter?
Yeah, we just need to look at some combinations as well. And, you know, we did actually start not too bad last week. Didn't obviously finish that great, but, you know, reward for their effort. And then let's just have a look at now what Tipper's doing, and Hannah's ready to go if we need her as well.
And last time you played the Fever, you won by a goal. It happened in the last quarter. How important is it, though, for your team to come out and fight in this third?
Yeah, look, we're looking for, you know, that four-quarter effort. And, you know, I think with this crowd behind us, we'll give them something to cheer about.
Thanks, Tans. We'll leave you to it. All the best.
Thank you.
She's so right about this crowd. As soon as they start to get some momentum, you can hear them come alive, and they could be the all-important piece of this puzzle later in the game. Kranzberg, how good has she been? And that pass into Fowler, case in point. Gorgeous. Garrett. Wilson. Defenders do plenty of work in attack here for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. At the top to Williams. And another big swing. Now they find Cardwell. So those swings now feel like they're starting to work for them and just opening up the width of the circle a bit, Caitlin.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also helps in switching up the matchups. When Ariang ends up on Cardwell, that is a height mismatch that they need to exploit.
Glasgow. Long way from the circle, heads back there now. Needs her attack line just to bring the ball a little bit closer. The defence here from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Well, it's starting to really clog up the West Coast Fever, isn't it, across this transverse line? Although Kranzberg all alone in the pocket. Oh, an offensive contact against Janelle Fowler. Little wry smile on the face. Oh, that's got to be... Oh, was that not over a third?
I think she had just put her foot in the centre third. Ooh. It was a long ball, though. They're trying to clear that defensive end as quickly as possible, but they need to make sure they're keeping possession. Just a little bit casual with their passing in the attacking end for my life.
Yeah, casual is a very good way to put... Well, there's that offensive contact at the bottom of the screen. Looked like she just exhaled.
Not much, yeah.
Not at all. Well... Who would umpire, though? One of the toughest gigs, and they are exceptional every week. So whilst I say that, I fully appreciate the job they do. Alice Teague-Neal, Kranzberg, Fowler. Well, that's exactly where Shamira Sterling got stuck in the first quarter, isn't it?
Yeah, she managed to find a few little loopholes to get her hand in the second quarter, but Fowler has tightened up on that positioning again in this third.
Fowler keeps it at 5, the difference. Looks completely unfazed by the contest. Well, they take the penalty quickly here, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Williams. Quick double play with Tipper Dwan. Now she waits for Dwan to enter the circle, though. Oh, pressure valve relieved somewhat with that penalty against Courtney Bruce.
Interesting to see the penalty difference, 47 to the West Coast Fever at the moment to 24 to the Thunderbirds. So Fever are definitely getting in there and having a red hot crack, but they can't afford to give that penalty away in a shooting position.
Yeah, big difference in the penalties, isn't it? Massive. And you're right. I mean, it's good and bad, isn't it? Because it can be frustrating and it can start to rattle, but it can also give away very easy penalties. Fowler making sure of that one and laughing in the process. She's having a whale of a time here, Janelle Fowler. Not many people have the same fate when they come up against Shamira Sterling, do they? Williams. Dwan.
Beautiful opening there. Just the timing of the pass, held on for a second, allowed Tipper Dwan to cut around that front.
Oh, yeah, she thought about it, didn't she, Sasha Glasgow? Wanted to just pull the ripcord, get it straight down to Fowler.
I saw Sterling there sneaking off as well. I reckon she's been told in this quarter, create something for yourself, get off and have a crack, because she is definitely looking for ball.
Well, someone's got to, and Latanya Wilson wants to be that person. Well, the key now for the Adelaide Thunderbirds is keeping possession and scoring off it. They haven't been able to get closer than the 4 goals in this contest. That's exactly where they sit now. This could narrow it to 3, not if Courtney Bruce has anything to say about it. Well, it'll go back. There is plenty of smiles going on in both circles. How quickly that's going to all change if this gets any closer. And the clock ticks down. Cardwell makes it 3, finally. The beauty of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, though, Caitlin, the centre pass to follow. They can get this to 2.
That's right. I love that split from Cardwell in the circle. And the best thing about her is she's so strong that even when she's down low, she can still take that ball and turn.
Well, lucky, because that feed was way off, but Cardwell, that was a very serious applause, the way almost of the umpire, wasn't it? Yes, you saw it. It's been happening.
Yep, and she's now going to be looking for it even more. So what can Courtney Bruce do to adapt?
Well, those are those penalties you were talking about, the West Coast Fever. Goals from Gaines in favour of the West Coast Fever. Probably not surprising. Shamira Sterling! Oh, they can't keep possession. Sasha Glasgow, how good, got in there and disrupted that. Well, they call this quarter the championship quarter, and at the moment, the Adelaide Thunderbirds up to the task. They're leading this quarter 6-3, and they've come up with ball again. Georgie Horges.
Oh, no, she's not happy with that.
I was about to say smart because she paused, had a breather. There's the tip coming from Shamira Sterling. Well, yeah, I don't think much in that in terms of contact, just to really just fumble on the feet. Listen to the crowd. Our monitors here in commentary are shaking. Getting right into it now, this pink army. And it's doing the job too, isn't it? The Adelaide Thunderbirds really holding up the West Coast Fever here. And Sterling again. Well, she's still getting the tips from behind, but she's almost getting herself on an angle to make it a bit cleaner.
Anything that is not snapped in with 2 hands is fair game in the air for Sterling.
Beaton, just been commenting about the defence from the Adelaide Thunderbirds really picking up, particularly in the mid-court. You're liking what you're seeing from them?
Absolutely loving it. So what they're doing at the moment is dropping into space. The attackers that the Fever have got on at the moment, they're not super dynamic players. They're not really agile. They kind of run in one line. So when you drop and fill that space, they can't create as much as they would like. We've seen a change with Emma Koch just come in at goal attack. Hopefully she'll create some more energy and movement for the Fever.
Well, that is something you don't see every day. Sasha Glasgow off and Emma Koch into goal attack. Emma Koch, by far and away the shortest person in this circle. So is she going to go to post? That'll be the big question.
Well, does she need to? She's got Fowler there in this.
Great question.
You know, apart from the... Oh, wow. Oh. I thought she was going to pick that up and play it. She did that last week. She caught the ball when she was on the ground. got to her feet and threw it without a penalty.
Oh, fortunately, it was out of court, so they didn't have to go through that again. Tipper Dwan needs it to drop, and it does. Oh, Tanya Obbs too. I think she held her breath on that shot just as much as the rest of this Adelaide crowd did. Anstis. Oh, they've overcooked it here, the West Coast Fever. That defensive pressure from the Adelaide Thunderbirds starting to show some cracks in this clinical West Coast Fever attack line.
And as much as we say, you know, bringing on fresh legs is great, Emma Kosh does not have a good as combination with Alice Teague-Neal and Fowler. So, you know, they're actually at a disadvantage, I think, even though they're trying to try something different and bring on some fresh legs.
Well, the beauty of the rolling subs is that change can happen again in the blink of the eye of Dan Ryan's. Feels like it needs to. Dwan, can she sink it? She can't, it's short. Massive rebound, Sunday Ariang. 25 seconds away from our third Power 5. Oh, Tipper Dwan, plenty to say the direction of the umpire. Well, they're in everything. A new lease of life here for the Adelaide Thunderbirds in this quarter, Caitlin.
Isn't it funny? One tip, one change of momentum really brings this team to life. The crowd are up and about, like we mentioned. We've just heard the siren for the Suncorp super shot. Let's see how the Fever respond. Do they start going to their two-point shots?
Well, there's a timeout being called, HCF timeout. I think it's gone the way of the West Coast Fever. And just in that moment, I noticed Kim Jenner putting on the wing defence bib. So there could be a change coming here. Dan Ryan having a bit to say in the back of play to her. Let's get down and have a listen to the mastermind.
Take a 5-minute breather, all right? Regroup from there, all right? Sasha back in, great stuff, mate. Really well done. Good work. Just really important here again between you three, we must get the work rate up and have that second multiple option, all right? So really clear that transverse line. If you need to mark up and punch back onto the ball, do so. Just think of that when you're taking your deep second phase drive, flip out. There is a flip out to be had there, all right? So almost use it as I'm bringing you there and I'm coming back at it, all right? Really important. Come around. Yeah. Okay. I think we should get you sitting in your range and you working your 45s. Right. If she's in the two, I'm going to have to give up my rebound position to protect her on the shot. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, that's okay. Right. Good work. Hustle well, guys. Good work. Okay, if there was a time to be aggressive, now is the time, guys, going into three-quarter time, all right? So let's be super strong in what we're doing. Energy high, work rate high, aggressive mindset. Let's go. 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Well, Caitlin Bassett, 4 changes made. Sasha Glasgow back to goal attack. Alice Teague-Neal wing attack. Anstis now in the middle. Kim Jenner wing defence. Do we read anything into this? Is Dan Ryan feeling a little nervous and maybe the horrors around 6 coming back to him?
Well, it was interesting last week after their huge win. Only 8 players hit the court. There was 2 players that didn't make it onto the court. So he is exploring his bench now. He's changing things up, which is great to see. I think Thunderbirds can take some confidence knowing that they're full some changes.
They'll certainly take some confidence if they can get this gap any smaller than it has been. 2 has been the closest throughout this game. And I do believe the depth of the benches is going to be what separates the winners of this competition from the rest. So Dan Ryan really wanting to test them out as well. 3 the difference. West Coast Fever still in the lead, albeit that margin getting smaller and smaller. Horges. Williams. Oh, Tipper Dwan just got spat out the back of the court. Ball in hand now, though. And makes good. Tipper Dwan 10 from 11.
She's certainly come on and made an impact. And interesting to see Sasha Glasgow back on in goal attack. She's only shot 1 from 2, which is well below what we normally see from her. 2 from 3 for the super shot. So wondering if she's been brought back on just to really mix things up and draw some, you know, defence off Fowler, but also get her in the game and put some shots up.
Well, good time to get her in the game. We are in the Power 5 time. We've seen her dominance there. 2 from 3, as you mentioned. Well shy of the 14 super shots she sunk last week. Yeah, that's a great setup. Why that ball's not going earlier, though? Cardwell can't hold that forever. And it pulled the penalty, so they've got to have the confidence to let them go when they're there, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Yep, again, good hold, good strong arm up, signalling Cardwell wants the ball.
Do you think Fever are happy to concede that 1-goal shot rather than risk the 2-point out front?
Well, I don't know that the Adelaide Thunderbirds desperately need to go for the 2-point shot at this point either. So that's a hard one to judge, isn't it? Which way you go. If they were down by more than the couple, you would expect that to be coming. Teague Neal, the vision is long. Well, the intent is pretty clear for the West Coast Fever, but the radar off, and that is the issue when it's not on, is you've got one of the best defenders in Shamira Sterling there. Adelaide Thunderbirds, or they can get this back to 1, Caitlin.
That's it. All they need to do is steady, play smart, work the ball to the post.
Oh, Cardwell, well, she's missed a couple in that exact same spot right underneath the post.
How hard is it to shoot?
Look at the face of Elle Cardwell. She looked straight to the bench, almost apologetically for giving her coaches a heart attack.
She's just getting her rebound set up, Cal.
One, the difference. This could take the lead, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, for the first time in the game. And it's taken them 1 minute shy of the third quarter, being all done and dusted. But look, it doesn't matter when it happens, as long as it happens, Caitlin. And listen to the crowd now.
One is contact, end offside, win defence.
Oh, not the lead, even. Apologies. Got it ahead of myself. Gorgeous. Dwan. Or doesn't this set us up for a brilliant final quarter? That one is off, but the rebound, well, Dwan did an exceptional job just to get it back, didn't she? Do you know what the good news is for the Adelaide Thunderbirds? The West Coast Fever's worst quarter is their final quarter, Caitlin.
Have a look at this. Athleticism from Dwan as she's diving out of court to save that ball. But yes, we know the West Coast Fever.
They can fade. They've only won 4 of their final quarters this season. So that combined with the fact that the Adelaide Thunderbirds looked to have their tails up and a bit of momentum right before they threw that ball away. 7 seconds on the clock. Janelle Fowler, a Suncorp super shot. Can't sink it. Well, there is the siren at the end of the third quarter, and I'm rubbing my hands with glee. 2 points the difference as we head into the fourth and final quarter of this game. The West Coast Fever leading 41-39.
Tipper. In the 2-point time, wherever Sasha is, we need in front of her. When she's coming into the centre third, we need you guys in front of her when she re-enters the centre third. Okay. Because she actually took quite a few of the centre passes, so potentially you're straight. Whoever's coming on Sasha's side, just go straight down into that space. Let's make it hard to receive and then hard to get back into the goal third. Yep.
Really interesting stuff there coming from the Origin Energy 3-quarter time huddle for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. And talking to the attack line from the Adelaide Thunderbirds about stopping the attack line for the West Coast Fever in that Power 5 time, Caitlin.
Yeah, that's right. It does take a full court defence to try and shut down the Fever, and anything that they can do to try and slow up, disrupt or confuse the space in the Fever attacking line is going to help. So these attackers for the Thunderbirds need to step up and help out.
Yeah, what they're wanting them to do is just block Sasha Glasgow, keep her out of the circle as long as possible so she can't get in there and drain those 2-point Suncorp super shots. What a final quarter we've got on our hands here. 2 the difference. Adelaide Thunderbirds did get themselves back to even in that third quarter. And they start us off here. It was all about possession. The conversation coming from Tanya Obst. Courtney Bruce penalised. What can they do with it? Well, Dwan's setting a screen, but she just let it go.
I don't know how much thought was behind that. The placement was really not on. I feel like she should have faked it, passed and gone herself.
Oh, Jess Anstis! Well, it was going to be a Herculean effort just on the take itself. Couldn't keep herself out of the circle, so the Adelaide Thunderbirds, fortunately, get possession back. Oh, it's starting to get physical too, isn't it? The start of this fourth quarter, we've seen plenty of bodies on the line. Here is the take from Jess Anstis. But you'll notice she's now got to stop herself falling in the goal circle. And then Tipper Dwan, just a little twist of the ankle. That is a massive rebound from Courtney Bruce. Well, 2 opportunities gone begging there for the Adelaide Thunderbirds, Caitlin.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to really come out this last quarter and fire and get a couple of points back, but unfortunately just wasted. Oh, I like it when Sterling comes off the body and has a crack at the ball. I think she can be very elusive when she wants to be.
Well, we talked in that break about whether Jordan Kransberg would come back on the court because she's sitting at the top of the Nissan net point still with 72. She has, but she's come on at wing defence, so they've opted to keep Jess Anstis in centre. And a big change happening now for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. So Elle Cardwell is going to move out to goal attack. Lucy Austin into goal shooter. What do you make of this change at this time of the game?
Well, I'm interested if this is because Dwan's rolled her ankle again. We saw she was out last week because of an ankle injury, so potentially just tweak that again and forcing this change. But Cardwell out into that goal attack position. She plays goal attack completely different to Dwan, which is awesome to watch her. And Lucy Austin as the target back there against Courtney Bruce. I'd love to see her post up and demand that ball.
We might get Em beaten to keep an eye on that. Em, I have noticed, though, Tipper Dwan isn't on the bench.
Yeah, she's gone straight down to the room. We definitely did see her tweak it there. I saw her facial expressions. She did not look comfortable at all. The coaches have asked the goalies to really start together. So I'm really interested to see how they work as a unit. They want to start those holdings. Kathy, you would have more idea of me as a goalie, but really posting up together.
Well, what I gather from that conversation is that, you know, typically Cardwell doesn't play a whole heap of goal attack. They'll get them both in the circle and they'll ask Williams and Georgie Horges to do far more attacking work in bringing the ball down. Keep the tools in the circle together and then they can work off and break up this defensive unit. Well, that's one back. There's the changer of the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Tipper Dwan walking in with the medical staff. Hopefully it's not too bad. She looked like she was walking quite freely there, so may see her back in this contest. 3 the difference though. The West Coast Fever, they've been in control for most of this game. Janelle Fowler sinks her 39th of the game, sitting at 97%.
Big clash there. Anstis and Horges. I think now that Horges is the mobile, moving, attacking one in that Thunderbirds attacking end, as we can see here on the replay, have a look. Oh, just a bit of a shoulder clash there. Nothing in it. Both players going for the ball, but just collecting each other on the way through. A little bit slow to get up, and the floor has to be wiped, but I think Fever are highly aware that Horges is the mobile one in that attacking end, so they're going to double her and try and shut her down to try and force the ball.
Well, she is the sole playmaker really now, isn't she, without Tipper Dwan down there. Great take, Lucy Austin, and she'll need this for a confidence boost. Oh, she'll get another shot at it. Austin makes good. First one on the board for Lucy Austin. Kransberg, Ariak. Back to Kransberg. There's that defensive pressure again from the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Glasgow a long way up, not used. Oh, it's crowded, isn't it? It's Pink clogging the middle of the court. Making it very hard all the way back to the opposite end of the court. That is a big defensive win for the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Huge, and this type of play is tiring. That's the thing about it, Kath, is that they're working hard, they're chasing, they're covering, they're working again. It can be really tiring for the attack and for the defence.
And tiring is not what you want in a fourth quarter, but that, again, is the work of that defensive pressure out the front, isn't it?
That forced that turnover. Let's see what Thunderbirds can do with this one.
Yeah, so if they're wanting Austin and Carball to stay back, they need their defence line to really do some work in the tack as well. Get it further down court through Wilson and through Garrett. And there they are, both on that transverse line. Big swing to Williams. Oh, why on earth did that not go in? Anyway, wanting to make it a little harder for themselves, the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Cardwell handed that drive to her on a platter. All she needed was the ball in hand, but
they work it anyway.
Well, there it is, to the difference in the Adelaide Thunderbirds. The centre pass to follow. So again, they can get this margin even closer. Haven't been able to take the lead yet, though, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. Got it back to level. Again, there it is. Cardwell putting a head down and just pushing through the smallest of gaps on that baseline.
She is now the mobile shooter in that attacking end with Lucy Austin back, and she's really making that baseline work for her.
The defence here from the Adelaide Thunderbirds is chalk and cheese from what we saw in that opening quarter. Oh, Fowler at the top was in pretty busy space. No, Wilson doesn't get it. The penalty goes back to the top of the circle. Glasgow takes the easy one over to Fowler and keeps that 2-point buffer.
I spy with my little eye in the background Tipper Dwan joining the Thunderbirds bench again. She has the goal attack bib on. When do you think we're going to see this change? Are they going to wait until the Power 5?
No, I wouldn't think so. I reckon, given the fluency of it, although I kind of like what I'm seeing from Elle Cardwell. She really has stepped up, hasn't she? Injected herself a bit more in that playmaker role, and I'm liking it.
Tracy Neville likes it too with those double thumbs up.
Teague Neal, again, held up this exact same spot. Good vision over the top, though, to Anstis. Oh, Sterling so close. Glasgow. Well, there you heard it. Linking with the arms. The penalty against Matilda Garrett. To the difference. Couple of minutes away from the Power 5 time. 3 minutes away from the Power 5 time. Oh, that's a dangerous ball. Courtney Bruce, not at all scared of those contests. Ran straight into an oncoming player.
I actually don't think Taylor Williams realised that ball was going. She put her head down and drove to the pocket, and it was released before she realised. Have a look here at the replay. Oh, Courtney Bruce, she went back with the flood of the ball, and Williams just put her hands up a little bit too late.
Well, was that the little run for the Adelaide Thunderbirds? Is this where the West Coast Fever can take control? It's as simple as that sometimes, isn't it? Just a timely turnover to stem the flow. West Coast Fever centre pass. Dan Ryan likes it. Slaps the hands together. Well, nobody's rushing here, are they, with the ball? All taking a deep breath. Interesting chats on the bench there for the Adelaide Thunderbirds. It's the captain, Hannah Petty. There she is. Well, and here she comes too. Well, another interesting change at an interesting time. She's coming into a pressure cooker.
Oh, give that ball.
Oh. Austin had, to me, a good front position, a good front hold. She came off the body and just let Ariang into the contest. Austin needs to sink this. Good high shot, she does. Well, is this where we're going to see the change? Yeah, Williams called the timeout. So here comes the captain, Hannah Petty. She'll bring the fresh legs. She'll bring the leadership. Can she bring a swing of momentum? Petty. Cardwell, Horges. Or Austin. Good placement. Austin sinks another.
This is the benefit of having two talls in the circle. You can release that high ball. It's so easy to feed another tall shooter, especially when you're a tall shooter yourself.
Fowler out of the circle. Oh, Petty! Oh, offside is the call. Glasgow takes the time on the penalty. Hannah Petty again for the tip. The crumbs come to Sterling. And here fly the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
Hasn't she had immediate impact on court? She's got a crucial turnover for her team. She's got that experience, that level head, and those fresh legs.
What incredible coaching that is to recognise when that change needs to be made, what change needs to be made.
And confidence in your captain. She didn't play last week. She hasn't played this entire game, and she comes on.
Level peggings, 47 apiece here. The Adelaide Thunderbirds centre pass. This could be the first time, well, every time I say it, I jinx them. The Adelaide Thunderbirds, well, the pressure on now! Elle Cardwell! Well, she was the hero in round 6. She's pulled off a timely intercept right on the Power 5 siren. And this will be a penalty to Lucy Austin. They take the lead. The Adelaide Thunderbirds take the lead for the first time in this game. And is it just me, or is a little bit of deja vu from round 6, Caitlin Bassett?
I think they're starting to run a little bit earlier than they did in round 6, but fantastic to see Cardwell getting her hand to that ball, turning things over for her team. What can Fever do to respond? They've made changes already out on court. They've got Sasha Glasgow. She needs to stand up now for her team.
Well, she asked the question straight away to the umpire, is it a 2? It is Sasha Glasgow. It's a Suncorp super shot. And whoa, that's given them that lead back again. It's probably given Dan Ryan and Tanya Obst a little bit of a heart starter. And it'll be an HDF tactical timeout, probably for that reason. This will be the moment
Get yourself on the circle edge, right?
they get to really think about what they do in these last 4 minutes. Let's have a listen to Dan Ryan.
Stay alive and active. Just keep fighting for those positions, all right? We're going to attack our scoreboard here. Go for it, all right? Back it in, all right? Just give us heaps on the transverse line, heaps on first face and a pass, attack, and stay there for it, all right? If you get an opportunity to go for ball, guys, we find that moment, all right? Time to play, right? You've got this, you've got this, you've got this. All right, let's thrive here. This is absolutely the stuff that we enjoy, guys, all right? This is what we're here for. So thrive in these moments, work your guts out, nothing to hold back on. We attack this game. Let's go!
Fever on 3, 1, 2, 3!
Well, I don't know about you, but my eyes are on Sasha Glasgow. Attack the scoreboard, go for it. Specifically went to Glasgow and said, time to play. This is when she's going to find a lot of ball in her hands this last 4 minutes. Adelaide Thunderbirds, well, their goal has got to be to keep the ball out of Sasha Glasgow's hands and continue to keep possession themselves. Petty didn't want to force it. Smart ball to Horges, finds Austin. Big shot, Lucy Austin, and she nails it. We're back to level. Cransberg, Alice Teague-Neal, Fowler. Well, the instruction was to attack the play. Janelle Fowler doesn't want to be the one to do it.
No, she knows that two-point shot is not her specialty, and she does have Sasha Glasgow in the circle who can do it for her.
Well, enter the super shot queen, Sasha Glasgow, just nailed another. And it's giving them the tiniest bit of breathing room, but they just have to hang on to it, don't they, the West Coast Fever? Lucy Austin. Well, they're recognising too now that they have to attack this game just as much. And Elle Cardwell, well, she's done it once. Can she do it again? Hasn't got the finger guns out just yet. Latanya Wilson. Oh, she's going the wrong way. Latanya Wilson.
Latanya Wilson needed someone to pass to. Shamira Sterling was too busy celebrating. As we can see in the background here, she pulled that ball in. Oh, she got a second bite at it. She had no one to pass to because their mate in the circle was too busy cheering.
I tell you what a performance this would be from the Adelaide Thunderbirds off the back of a 21-goal loss last week and coming up against a side on soft. Elle Cardwell! She sinks another. It is almost a carbon copy of round 6. Oh, Georgie Hoare just the smarts to get a foot into the centre third. Lucy Austin doesn't want to be the one to take those long bombs, but happy to pull it from nice and close. Nails it. The Adelaide Thunderbirds up by 2. Nissan net points match leaders. Jordan Cransberg still sitting at the top, but now 3 Adelaide Thunderbirds. The most we've seen this game. Janelle Fowler. Oh, well, she can't sink it, and the rebound has been called out. So it's going to be an Adelaide Thunderbirds throw-in. 1 minute, 20 seconds to play. Caitlin Bassett, what happens from here? Who wins this game?
Fever need to smother this ball. This was where we know that Thunderbirds aren't great in their transition from defence to attack. This is where Fever can really capitalise.
Hannah Petty, well, she's doing everything she possibly can, as is Shamira Sterling. And in the process, pulls the penalty. Sasha Glasgow, no doubt as to what she's going to do, and it's an absolute monster. Suncorp super shot number 4 to Sasha Glasgow. It's level, 40 seconds to play. Well, what do the Adelaide Thunderbirds do here?
Play possession.
Well, do they? Do they chew up the clock, or do they just get it to the goal and score off it? We've seen what they've been like with ball in hand.
I know, but Sasha Glasgow, I think, has found her range at the right time. So securing possession, playing smart, working the ball to the post.
Well, if they can get a 2-pointer here, they're almost going to confirm this win, aren't they? Oh, they're really sucking up the clock. What is Lucy Austin going to do? Well, it's a contact against Elle Cardwell. There's not going to be enough time. Well, it's even. On to the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
So there's a bit of confusion happening down here at the moment.
Well, it's saying on the scoreboard in the stadium that it's 54 to 53. Hence, the Adelaide Thunderbirds are up and about. There's discussion going on at the scoreboard at the moment. What we have, 53 apiece. So,
double checking the final score at the moment.
Wow. Emily Beat is over there. She'll find out exactly what is going on while this is happening.
Is the official score
if
1
this
goal?
is
Official score is 1 goal.
1 goal difference.
Well, there it is. 1 goal. The difference is the final ruling. That means the Adelaide Thunderbirds again take a 1-point win over the West Coast Fever, and they get themselves back on the winners list. What a game. Wow, not only have they got themselves a win here, but they've got themselves some much needed breathing room in that first place on the ladder. Can you believe it? Down the entire game, Caitlin Bassett. And again, they come from behind and sneak it off the back of a couple of El Cardwell super shots. And look at that West Coast Fever side. They've got to be a little deflated knowing they were in complete control of that game from the start. Nice moment though, the teams come together. Oh, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, what a turnaround. 21-goal loss last week. To then come out and produce a game like that, they will be absolutely thrilled with that performance. Let's get straight down to Emily Beaton, who's one of the superstars of the Adelaide Thunderbirds.
I'm with today's MVP, El Cardwell. Can you talk us through that final quarter? That was insane to watch.
Do you know what? It was unbelievable. We've had a really hard 2 weeks. We've had it tough on the court, off the court, everything going behind. I'm just so proud of everyone that came on the court then. When Lucy came on and in that circle just offering, I just knew we had it then. And I'm just super proud of the effort that we came from behind. And I'm just super proud of the girls.
And how did you turn it around from that performance last week? You know it wasn't your best, to really rally together. You've had injuries. How has that belief been built within your team?
It was hard last week, mentally. And this week, the girls have just trained super hard. We've had some real honest conversations. We've opened up a lot. And we just said, you know what? We just need to be a family. We are going to help each other through the tough times. And I think that really showed today how well we stuck together when it was tough, especially at the start of the game. It took us a while to get going. So, they're just super proud of them.
And you personally, incredible performance. Can you tell us what is going through your mind when you just turn and nail those 2-point shots? It's like there's ice in your face.
We have our weapons and what we're good at, and mine is just turn and shoot. So I just try and remember that is my go-to, and I know I can do it. So that kind of goes through my head, and then also as a shooter, you kind of have to have nothing in your head. So that's probably why there's no emotion whilst I'm shooting it, because my brain's just free of everything.
Well, congratulations on a superb performance. Enjoy that win with your team.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Big thank you to Emily. Congratulations to El Cardwell and the Adelaide Thunderbirds. What a win. Let's have a quick look now at the match summary. And I tell you what, those figures that we saw at halftime probably been completely flipped on their head. Caitlin Bassett, look at the penalties, the difference there. And we talked about how they could potentially become an issue. I think they did in that second half.
Yeah, that's right. I think the changes that Thunderbirds were forced to almost make, bringing Hannah Petty on was just genius in that last quarter. She opened things up. She steadied things in their attacking end. But having a look at those penalties now, West Coast Fever are probably ruining that they were standing out of position a little bit too much in the dying minutes of that game.
Well, what does that mean to the all-important ladder? Let's have a look. The Adelaide Thunderbirds now with a nice little 4-point buffer over the New South Wales Swifts, who don't play till tomorrow. The West Coast Fever still sitting even there with the Melbourne Vixens in that third position. So, well, I'll tell you what, that's an important win. So close now to the finals, and those placings could be very, very important in just a few weeks. Well, make sure you stay with us. We are going to wrap up that incredible 60 minutes of play straight after this with your full-time show. Welcome back to Fox Netball and your full-time show. The top of the table clash has just wrapped up here in Adelaide, and the Adelaide Thunderbirds have again snuck the closest of wins by the 1 point over the West Coast Fever. Caitlin Bassett and Emily Beaton back with me, and we're now joined by the head coach of the Adelaide Thunderbirds, Tanya Obst. And Tans, it was a carbon copy of that round 6 performance. Only took control right at the end of the game, off the hand of El Cardwell as well. But I want to talk to you about the difference from last week to this week. What did you do this week to regroup after a 21-goal loss to have a performance like this?
Oh, look, you know, last week we actually identified some areas of our game that we didn't really execute at all very well, and we were very honest with each other after that game. And you know, there was 2 elements that we just thought if we did better, the scoreline would have been not so horrible. So, you know, we reviewed that, and Monday it was all about Fever.
Having a look at the changes you made in that last quarter, they were absolutely brilliant. Bringing Petty on, bringing Austin on, talk us through those changes.
Yeah, well, there was a few, wasn't there? You know, I thought Lucy was ready to go. We know what she can do out there, and she's starting to really believe in the role that she needs to play. And Hannah's, you know, Hannah was a really calm head for us, and I thought that Taylor Williams was just starting to maybe fade away a little bit from what she's doing. So yeah, it was lovely. It was good to see them come out and play their role that they needed to do.
Tans, your attack line really is so versatile, isn't it? We saw 4 different players playing in goals for you tonight, and it took them a while to warm into it, but I feel like any change you made, once they put the foot down, it is so versatile, and we mentioned how important the bench is in winning a premiership. Do you feel like you're getting that with your attack line so far?
Look, she was pretty good, wasn't she? So, yeah, we're really comfortable with who we put out there, and yeah, just got to score more than the opposition, don't we, at the end of the day?
It's pretty simple, our game of netball, isn't it? What about your defence end too? Because they probably started a little bit slowly, particularly Shamira Sterling. What was your instruction to her?
I think our defensive coach was pretty shocked or horrified, or I'm not sure, with Fever scoring 97 goals. But, you know, we know we have a game plan that has worked in the past, so it was about just executing that, and I thought that Shamira did a fantastic job on Janelle early in the game, and then I thought Tilly and Laddie really started to win that transverse line battle. So, yeah, they were great for us.
And Tanya, in attack, when you guys are going really well, you look like you absolutely flow down the court, but in that first quarter there was a lot of hesitation. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, we knew that Fever play a very different defence than the Vixens last week, so it was just probably ironing out a few of those little things and being more aware. You know, you can practice it in training, but when you actually get out there and do it, it does take a little while to adjust. But, you know, once I thought we did do that, obviously, you know, we did win the last 3 quarters, so really, really pleased with how we were able to, yeah, work our way through that defence.
Pleased with how your team's standing up in the pressure moments too, and by pressure I'm talking about not just the closeness, not just the clock ticking down, but the physicality that we're seeing on the court as well.
Yeah, look, I think, look, our team is young and we've grown together, and, you know, some of them have played a while, have played a long time together through the underage, and that certainly helps, and they're learning every week, and I think they're stepping up, and, you know, then putting Elle in there with her experience and just her character has just brought so much positivity and confidence within that young group. So really pleasing to see.
We have loved the inclusion of Elle Carball in the Thunderbirds, I've got to say. How is Tipper?
Yeah, no, she was okay to come back on, and I just thought, you know what, let's get a bit of time into Luce, let her sort of see what she can do, and we'll have Tipper ready to go next week.
Sounds great. Well, congratulations again on the performance. An amazing come from behind effort, and all the very best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
Well, naturally, there's still plenty to talk about in our post-game show, and we're going to do that very shortly. In the meantime, however, last week I had the pleasure of visiting the Binna Netball Club. Binna in Perth, Western Australia. And they were the recipient of the Woolworths Pick Fresh, Play Fresh Netball Grant last year. Let's take a look at what they've achieved in the community using the important funds provided by Woolworths.
We are lucky enough to be in Perth, Western Australia, and we've come to check in on the Binna Netball Club. Binna was lucky enough to win one of the Woolworths Pick Fresh, Play Fresh netball grants last year.
Thanks to the Woolworths Pick Fresh, Play Fresh netball grant, we've been able to subsidise a lot of the girls' fees that are in need of financial support. And we've also been able to provide them with healthy fruit and snacks before games.
Woolworths Net Set Go is such a great program for the kids because it teaches them all about an active lifestyle and a healthy lifestyle.
For us to be able to spend the time with each family and make sure the kids could be registered, the end result is, you know, the girls in the background having fun, playing together and really looking forward to training and game days.
I would encourage all families to be a part of the Woolworths Net Set Go program. It is a great initiative for our families. It's been an amazing partnership to have with Woolworths for our community.
Well, what a game it's been here in Adelaide to celebrate the first weekend of First Nations round, and you can see the excitement on the faces of the Adelaide Thunderbirds. That is the moment they found out they were 1-point winners after a little bit of confusion on the score bench as to whether it was a draw or a 1-goal win. Well, it had us all holding our breath for a little while, didn't it? One thing remained exactly the same as what we saw in that round 6 performance, and that was the heroics of Elle Cardwell, the English international. Brilliant intercept in that final quarter, a couple of Suncorp super shots, and it handed her yet another MVP in this contest. She was spectacular, wasn't she, Caitlin?
Her strength tonight was incredible. She was definitely getting pushed and shoved around out there, but she stood up strong. And we talked about the physicality in this game, and she is one that others turn to and look at how she handles the pressure. She does it with a smile on her face, which is great to see.
Yeah, and the pressure was coming from her opponent, Courtney Bruce. That was our matchup of this game. Courtney Bruce didn't have a bad game either, but she was probably a little heavily penalised. Yeah.
She absolutely was. She came out of the blocks firing. That first quarter from her was amazing. But then Elle Cardwell did get on top. And, you know, when you're out of play as a defender, you can't have that impact that you want to have. You can't have the ball in your hand. So it's a credit to Elle Cardwell. She's amazing in there. She knows what to say in those critical moments as well as how to perform. And the Thunderbirds are just so lucky to have her. And the way that you see the athletes around her respond is awesome to watch.
The other person for the West Coast Fever, though, I really loved the performance of, and we spoke about at halftime, was the work of Jordan Kransberg. And I know we've addressed 2 West Coast Fever players from a losing side, but she was sitting pretty at the top of the Nissa net points leaderboard right throughout the game, and again was at the end. What a spectacular game from her, and we've got to mention again, she was on court replacing Verity Simmons, who just played her 150th game, so she's replacing a seasoned campaigner, but it looked like she'd been there for a long time.
Yeah, she really rose to the occasion. I think she is mature beyond her age out there on court, and it's exciting to see she's a superstar of the future for the West Coast Fever, and while they did lose by 1 goal, she really stood up for them tonight.
Well, let's talk about our Telstra player to watch. That was Sasha Glasgow. Very quiet tonight, and I'm putting that down to the workload of Matilda Garrett. There she is on screen. She didn't have massive stats herself, but what she did was keep Glasgow out of the contest, Em.
She completely nullified Glasgow. I was watching Tilly really closely throughout that game, and one thing that she was really concentrating on was getting her hands really high. Every single time Sasha had that ball, she had hands over her, and that really stopped the flow of the Fever attack because they couldn't see straight into their strike shooter of Janelle Fowler. So nullifying Sasha Glasgow was a key for them in winning tonight.
Well, let's have a reminder of the round 11 fixtures. Of course, the couple of games played today, and it was the Sunshine Coast Lightning with a 4-goal victory over the Collingwood Magpies, and then, of course, the blockbuster that we've just seen here, the top of the table clash, the Adelaide Thunderbirds sneaking again a 1-point win. Tomorrow, the Melbourne Vixens and the New South Wales Swifts play out for the Sergeant McInnes Cup, and that is going to be an absolute ripper. The New South Wales Swifts won that battle back in round 6 again, and it was by the 1 point. And then we head to Sydney for the Giants to take on the Queensland Firebirds. The Giants sitting just outside the top 4. A win there could really keep their seasons alive. All of those games, of course, live and exclusive on Fox Netball from 1:30 p.m. Well, a big thank you from us. That's all from us now. Thank you to Caitlin. Thank you to Emily. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you all again live from Melbourne as First Nations round continues.